It's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Arnab Goswami on the debate at 9. Presented by Amity University. Powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group and NECC.
Good evening and welcome, viewers. Why these double standards, viewers? Why these double standards all the time? Those who talk about religious tolerance, and those who talk about it the most, and those who write about it the most, and those who preach about it the most. Those who talk and preach about how religious sentiments of all groups must be respected. They are the ones who have turned most abusive and intolerant after the shivling has been found in the Gyanvapi temple premises. Some of the most hurtful, ugliest memes and jokes are being made about Hinduism, about Hindu religious beliefs, and Hindu idols. And I must ask openly tonight, if such jokes were to be made about any other religion, then protests and maybe much worse would erupt. But Hindus are expected to accept this as part of India's secular tradition and suffer the indignity of abuse and humor at the cost of their religious sentiments. And that is why I ask viewers today, for how long and why this hypocrisy? And people who swear by the courts and who quote the law ad nauseum, even when they have to quote it wrong to defend triple talaq. The same people are today openly attacking the courts of the country. Openly. Tomorrow, we have important hearings in the lower court and the Supreme Court in the Gyanvapi case. And today and yesterday, openly, viewers, people like Owaisi are saying they will reject the views of the court. Just imagine what's going on in this country. The court's opinion will be rejected, they say. They are trying and instigating on an hourly basis to discredit the court, and they are doing so freely. And I wonder why we, the right-thinking, law-abiding citizens of this country are quiet, while the very fundamentals of the country's institutions are being subject to such a vicious and unrelenting attack. A group like the PFI, which should have been banned a long time back, tries to discredit the court processes. Just because the moves of the court are not in step with theirs, why should it be? Viewers, this abuse, this violation, and this well-thought attempt to push the judiciary down, to push the constitution down, to push the law down, cannot and should not be tolerated. Everyone has sentiments. And today, the Hindu community is standing by the legal process like they should, to know whether their petition to simply pray will be accepted. A petition, ladies and gentlemen, to pray, not a petition to demolish, like some people in the Lutyens media are trying to tell you. A petition, ladies and gentlemen, to pray, a petition not to destroy, like some liars in the Lutyens media are hinting at. In return, to care two hoots for their sentiments and for the legal process by some people cannot be accepted. So let's debate, viewers. Let's debate. My first debate tonight. Big hearings in Gyanvapi tomorrow. But if some already started the drive to discredit. Courts above all, we say, courts above all. Court above all is my hashtag tonight. Debate number 2. Who's playing with religious sentiments? People like Gehlot say it's tamasha. What's tamasha, Mr. Gehlot? About sentiments of people, about religious sentiments. Are they tamasha for you and Priyanka Vadra and Robert Vadra? If so, tell us why. And debate number 3 tonight. Debate number 3 this evening. I think there is no reason to celebrate a convict in an assassination case. That also the assassination of the Prime Minister. So I, for one, don't understand what's going on. What's going on today. That's debate number 3. And here are the headlines. This Wednesday evening on the debate tonight. Second Gyanvapi video emerges, shows the Nandi facing the Shivling.
I will not accept the report, whatever report comes. We are waiting for the Supreme Court to give a complete stay.
Open defiance even before the report is submitted. Owaisi and others say they will not accept the report. Akhilesh leads in mocking Hindu sentiments as stones and flags under trees turn into temples in India.
अब एक नया तमाशा शुरू कर देंगे वहाँ पर पढ़ना सीखना तो 100 जगह पर ऐसी स्थान होंगे जहाँ पर ये कंट्रोल पैदा करते हैं.
And the Vadra Congress, which allowed temples to be demolished in Alwar, calls the Gyanvapi episode and the finding of a Shivling a tamasha. Final report on Gyanvapi expected tomorrow. All eyes also on the Supreme Court. And convicted for assassinating the former Prime Minister of India. Why are some people celebrating? Paraivalan. Tomorrow is a big day in the courts. The Supreme Court will hear the Gyanvapi case and the Varanasi court will also hear the survey findings. The need of the hour is not to jump the gun, to hear the court orders and follow it and let the law take its course. But those like Owaisi, they already reject the whole process. They've rejected the survey. The All India Muslim Personal Law Board is forming parallel legal committees. And the attempt is to almost discredit our courts. Can this be allowed? Or should the courts decide? Let's debate.
In an undated video that was circulated today, Nandi is visible behind the grills. And as the camera pans across, it becomes clear on the opposite end is the Wazukhana. The same Wazukhana where the Shivling was purportedly recovered. Earlier, another undated video showed a top view of the Shivling and the concrete structure that encircled it. As the camera zooms into the location, it is clear an oval Shivling-like structure is present. Some claim they saw the Shivling even 25 years ago.
वीडियो देखिए 100% सही वीडियो है और चूँकि हम लोग वहीं मंदिर के बगल में ही हम लोगों का निवास है, वहीं हम लोगों ने जन्म लिया है. लेकिन जो शिवलिंग के बगल चारों तरफ जो नया घेरा बनाया गया है, ये 1992 के बाद बनाया गया है और कभी कुआरा वहाँ चलते हुए ना ही देखा है, ना ही कोई फोटो देखा, ना कभी वीडियो देखा.
But the Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee is outright denying it all.
हकीकत ये है वो फव्वारा है, क्योंकि जब कोर्ट कमीशन ने जब उसमें एक पाइप हल्का पतला वाला पाइप डाला तो 64 सेंटीमीटर तक अंदर चला गया. लेकिन वो एक्चुअली अकबर के ज़माने का दीन इलाही का मरकज़ है. अकबर ने दीन इलाही कायम किया था और हिंदू मुस्लिम एकता के एक प्रतीक के तौर पे वो माना जा रहा है। अब कहने को तो कुछ भी कहा जा सकता है। क्या 1991 का कानून इसकी इजाज़त देता है कि आप किसी को तोड़ दीजिए? कैसे तोड़ा जा सकता है?
In less than 24 hours, the Supreme Court of the country will hold a big hearing on the Gyanvapi issue. All sides will be heard and the legitimacy of the survey will be adjudicated upon. The lower court in Varanasi will hold a hearing on the findings of the court-appointed survey committee.
अब आज करेगा कोर्ट अपना आदेश पारित की सुनवाई भी फर्दर होगी, ये तो भी मैं नहीं बता सकता हूँ, ये तो कोर्ट में पता चलेगा। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने तो ये प्रोटेक्ट किया है, जो शिवलिंग का एरिया मिला है वजूद स्थान पे उसको सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने प्रोटेक्ट किया है। तो अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कल सुनवाई है, देखते हैं आगे क्या क्या चीज़ें होंगी। वो तो एडवोकेट हम नहीं सबमिट करेंगे भैया, रिपोर्ट एडवोकेट कमिश्नर सबमिट करेंगे, उनको सबमिट करना उनकी जिम्मेदारी है।
But even before the case is heard in the courtroom, the AIMIM chief has discredited it and rejected it all.
No, I will not. I will not accept the report, whatever report comes. We are waiting for the Supreme Court to give a complete stay, because fortunately for us, Justice Honorable Chandrachud were also on the bench of the title suit of Babri Masjid. And today Hindustan Times had a report that one judge was part of the Babri Masjid title suit, the other honorable judge in his capacity as advocate had represented the Ram Mandir issue also.
The AIMPLB has set up its own legal committee to look into the matter of the Gyanvapi mosque, despite the fact that a court-appointed committee is already looking into the matter.
जो भी फैसला होगा, जो भी साक्ष्य होंगे, जो भी सबूत होंगे, वो कोर्ट के सामने रखे जाएंगे और कोर्ट उस पर जब कोई फैसला सुनाएगा फिर आगे की संवैधानिक दायरे में रहकर उस पर कार्रवाई की जाए, यही ज्यादा मुनासिब बात है।
But the judicial process of the country cannot be dismissed.
देश के मजहबी नेता यानी धार्मिक संस्थाएं, वैज्ञानिक, बुद्धिजीवी, जातीय सामाजिक नेता या अन्य अनेक प्रकार के समाज सुधारक, यह सब चीज़ों को बांटने भड़काने की बजाय सत्य और सही जानने में मदद करें, फिर चाहे वो ओबीसी हो।
At the end of the day, not a shadow of doubt can be cast on the Supreme Court of India. Tonight, it is time to say, let the courts decide.
And I repeat, I think the Supreme Court will be cognizant of the fact that the petition before the Varanasi court is to pray, not to demolish. And however many times Mr. Owaisi tries to spread the lie that it is to demolish, the Supreme Court and the judges will be more than aware that the prayer in the petition is to pray, not to destroy, to pray, not to demolish. So if someone wants to misinterpret the whole thing, try to confound the court, create the wrong impression, and threaten a stir, the fact is the courts will not be moved by that. They will know that the petition before the Varanasi court on the basis of a survey report legitimately done by the judicial process to find out what the evidence is, even if the evidence is accepted, is to pray, not to destroy, to pray, not to demolish. And I pray, what's wrong with seeking to pray? On the debate this evening, G.V.L. Narasimha Rao, Vishnu Shankar Jain, the lawyer in the case Raghav Avasthi, Gaurav Goyal, Muhammad Asif Sohail of the All India MIM, Tala Amir Rashidi of the Rashtriya Ulema Council, Taslim Ahmad Rahmani and Ehtisham Hashmi are completing my panel. Now, which one of us is, I ask, above the court? Because my hashtag says, Gaurav, I see your hand, court above all. But Owaisi thinks he's above the court. Does Owaisi think he's above the judiciary? I don't understand how people talk like that anymore. I will not accept. You're a politician, how will you not accept? As a politician, as a member of parliament, you're saying you'll not accept the law. As a member of parliament, a leader of a political party, you say, the law does not apply to me, I don't accept. Well, if you don't accept, it doesn't matter. But if a member of parliament duly sworn in by the Constitution of India says, I will not accept whatever the court says, then basically the member of parliament is saying, I'm violating the oath I made while being sworn in. I want Gaurav to open the debate. Gaurav.
See, I would like to say that who is Owaisi to question or not to question, to accept or not to accept. This is about the Hindu faith and we believe it. Now this has been corroborated with the evidence. The shivling has been found. And you have rightly said, Arnab, that as a constitutional student and after being the member of parliament, if he give disregard to the Indian courts, he should be removed from the Indian parliament at all. ये हमारा विषय है. The shivling has been found. Evidence is there. Even if the evidence is not there, our faith says that a Ram Mandir was in Ayodhya. In Kashi Vishwanath, there is a mandir. And in 16th century, the Aurangzeb has demolished it. Even I can say, we don't need any evidence. But when the evidence is there now, the ASI conducted the survey, the videography is there, and the shivling has been found. What remains? Those who are questioning these courts now, those who are questioning the shivling, they should introspect. This country also belongs to the Hindus. I'm not saying this is not belongs to anybody else. This belongs to Muslims also. But at the same time, this belongs to Hindus also. What about our faith? It is now the shivling has been found. Though there was an initial prayer that it is for to do the prayer in the Gyanvapi.
It's about,
But I say it's much beyond that.
Yeah, it's becoming very serious. And Owaisi says, and I quote, he says, Raghav, that the order of the lower court is in gross violation of the Parliament Act of 1991. Now, the counter question to that, Raghav, will be, does Owaisi think he's above the Varanasi court, which has been hearing the matter since August 2021 and ordered a survey in April 2022? Does he think he's above the Allahabad High Court? Does Owaisi think he's above the Allahabad High Court, which on 22nd April dismissed the petition challenging the survey? Dismissed the petition challenging the survey. I mean, the extent to which an individual can abuse the court. No, Mr. Rashid. No. Mr. Rashidi is coming in. But before that, Raghav Avasthi and Mr. Rashidi are on the debate.
It's a constitutional court.
Please listen to me. There are 2 points.
No. Who's coming in first? Raghav is coming in or Rashidi is coming in? No. 1 minute. Rashidi, are you coming in or is Raghav coming in? One of you. Let Raghav go.
Let me start.
Okay, let him speak.
There are 2 points to be made. First of all, the Places of Worship Act is actually not in line, or it doesn't agree with what Mr. Owaisi is saying. The act is very clear. There is a building of archaeological importance in the provisions of the Places of Worship Act, and the operative portion is section 4 is not going to be applicable. So Mr. Owaisi should really
is the building under ASI Archaeological Survey of India.
Let me complete.
Oh, let him complete. Rashidi, let him complete. Rashidi, let Raghav complete. Rashidi, let Raghav complete. Rashidi, let Raghav complete.
The second point to be made here is this. When the Ayodhya case was being heard, the constitutional validity or the vires of the Places of Worship Act was not in challenge before that court. And since it was not in challenge, not under challenge before that court, then any observation made in relation to it are what is known in law as obiter dicta. So it doesn't have any value by way of precedent. The problem is that people like Mr. Owaisi want to stoke an atmosphere of communal hatred and resentment in the country, and through that they want to harvest votes on the bodies of dead Indians. They want riots to break out in the country, and they are misleading their own voters, their own constituents. And it is really unfortunate that a large section of the media is letting these lies and misrepresentations go absolutely unchallenged. The act is unequivocal. If the monument is of archaeological importance, then the act is not going to apply to it. And most importantly, the court commissioner's survey was conducted as per law. What was found was a shivling. And just like in the spirit of what happened at the Hagia Sophia Mosque and what Ataturk did, when he reconverted the
Yes, now
church,
go to Hagia
the mosque
Sophia,
back
yes.
into a church which it originally was. The same would
No,
be done in India also.
the question is,
Why don't you go to Turkey and search for something there? Arnab, now I need to come in.
come in. Please,
Arnab, you
Vishnu,
should not
Vishnu
come
will
in.
debate with you.
Let's do
Rashidi,
it.
make your point. Rashidi, make your point. I'm listening. Vishnu
Yes.
will come in after that.
Yes.
But I want to
Thank
tell
you,
you one
thank
thing,
you.
Rashidi, before you come in, please. You see, the Supreme Court, Rashidi, if this was a gross violation, we must understand. The Supreme Court would have immediately stopped the survey on the 13th of May hearing or yesterday when it was raised. On the contrary, the Supreme Court has rightly not stopped the survey. So you appreciate that. Allahabad High Court on 22nd April has dismissed a petition challenging the survey. You need to
Because
understand
the
these
Supreme
things.
Court does not want to hear the matter ex parte like the civil court did in Varanasi. The Supreme Court does not want to hear the matter ex parte or make a observation or a judgment or an order like ex parte like the civil court of Varanasi did. Now, coming to the point, no one is above law. I agree with it, and I think the whole panelists here are agreeing with this point of view. But even the courts are not above the law.
Oh my
The civil
God,
court
oh
of
my
Varanasi
God, you
is
saw
bound
that. No, you heard that. That is the angle. No. Which court has said it is above the law? The courts are here to interpret the law. Here the abuse of the law and the abuse of the courts will not be tolerated on my program, Mr. Rashidi. I caution you, this angle of abusing and attacking the courts in an attempt to put pressure on them before an important hearing has to stop in this country.
About the law. I am saying even
No,
the courts
you
not
are.
above the
This
law.
is
What
part of a
wrong with
pattern. No, Vishnu, this is part of a pattern. Vishnu is a practicing lawyer and we have been observing it. I will open up right now. We also get two on the debate. We get GVL Vishnu, Rashidi and Sohail all on the debate right now. Please don't abuse the court. No, please, don't make this a forum to attack the court.
Okay. Let me complete.
No, don't make this a forum to attack the court.
The district court is bound by the Supreme Court. Do you agree or not? Do you agree or not?
Don't ask me.
Are you bound by the Supreme Court or not? Do you agree or not? Will you follow the orders of the Supreme Court? Do you agree or not?
Don't interrupt.
No, it's not that you can't say anything against the court and we'll just sit here like a mute spectator. It can't happen, Arnab.
The Supreme Court is bound by the Supreme Court.
I'm telling him and questioning him, he's not listening.
The Indian Parliament.
Arnab, kindly understand the pattern. Let me speak. Now let me speak. We have heard enough of you. Arnab, kindly understand
Vishnu. I'll give him 30 seconds to wrap up and then you come in once
Would be meant on this lawsuit. This lawsuit should have been rejected at the very initial step itself. All the proceedings in connection with this lawsuit is invalid as per the Places of Worship Act 1991 Section 4 Clause 2. This lawsuit should have been rejected at the very initial stage itself. And you will have to agree with this. And the Supreme Court in the
Rashidi, thank you. Thank you so much.
And this is what I'm saying.
Thank you. Very well spoken, though completely wrong. But I will now tell you one thing, all right? Listen to me, Rashidi. The 1991 Act, and viewers, I'm sharing this with you, please. And I'm willing to be intellectually challenged on this subject. I'm willing to battle this out. The fact of the matter is, as Vishnu will tell you, the 1991 Act, any elementary student of law will accept that the 1991 Act bars the conversion of places of worship. So if you are saying, allow me to please complete, I mean, Rashidi, see, I will take no time, and everyone knows how the 1991 Act absolutely does not apply here. If I open up the phone lines, you'll realize how people agree with me. The 1991 Act, what does it say, viewers? It says you cannot convert places of worship. You cannot turn a temple into a mosque and a mosque into a temple. You cannot turn a synagogue into a fire temple. You cannot turn a fire temple into a gurdwara. You cannot turn a gurdwara into a mosque. Now that's elementary, please. Elementary, please. Allow me. The law goes by the principle of stated intent, and please, when I'm making an important point, the law, viewers, goes by the principle of stated intent, which means if Vishnu wants to demolish the mosque, he must put a prayer in his petition. At the end of the petition, you have the prayers. The first thing the judge asks, what are your prayers? He will say, my Lord, I wish to demolish the mosque. Then the judge will say, Mr. Vishnu Shankar, as per 1991 Places of Worship Act, you cannot demolish the mosque. Then if he says, I want to turn the mosque into a temple, then he will say so, and then the honorable judge will say it is not allowed. Now, in this case, Vishnu, has any such prayer been made to break a mosque or demolish a mosque? Then what are we talking about, the 91 Act? You have to be a legal illiterate. You have to be a legal illiterate to say 91 Act has been violated.
I think.
Please be careful. I want Vishnu to come in.
You're sure you can say.
See, Arnab, the fact of the matter is that in our country, there is a very well-known proverb that ignorance of law is not an excuse. But the problem is that most of the people are ignorant. Now, the fact of the matter is, kindly see Section 4, Subclause 2 of the Places of Worship Act. It uses a word religious character. That what is the religious character of a place of worship on 15th August 1947 has to remain the same. Now, the fact of the matter is, as is evident, that a shivling has to be found. Shivling has been found in the Waju area of the so-called mosque. Now, the Places of Worship Act will apply in my favor, Arnab.
How?
Because that shivling has to remain. It has a nature of a Hindu temple. How can there be a shivling inside a mosque? And now you cannot convert it by virtue of Section 3 of the Places of Worship Act. That is number one. Point number two is that if a party is saying that a particular property is a Hindu temple, it has characteristics of a Hindu temple, and the other party is saying that no, it's a mosque. What are the politicians saying? That no boss, you cannot challenge it, you cannot talk about it because we are dominant. We will you cannot go to the court. What is the ultimate aim of Places of Worship Act? It takes away the judicial remedy. So now the point is, how can you take my judicial remedy? It is completely against the judgment of the Supreme Court by 5 judges bench in L. Chand Kumar's case. The second interpretation of Places of Worship Act is...
The case law is very strong in this case. The case law is very strong, I agree.
And the second interpretation of Places of Worship Act is the religious character has to be determined by the civil court through evidence. And that's what is the exercise which is going on. Now you say that no, we will not participate in the survey. Initially you participated in the survey. You challenged the order of the court. You participated before the proceedings of the Supreme Court. And now when the orders of the court are going against you, you say no, courts are unfair. The Supreme Court is unfair. The trial court is unfair. And you will only believe that the Places of Worship Act is sacrosanct.
Basically, therefore, what happens is, I'm just coming to you, GVL and Sohail. Basically, you see, this is a political argument being made by a person like Owaisi.
And it does not cover the judicial conduct.
What have you quoted, Mr.
What is the judicial conduct, Rahmani ji? Tell me.
Don't you know that the lower court did not follow the judicial conduct?
Arnab, I'll tell you one point.
I want to come in.
Allow me to speak.
Without listening the other party.
Mr. Rahmani, can I?
Is it the judicial conduct?
Mr. Rahmani, I request you. Mr. Rahmani, no. Vishnu, you want to counter?
Okay. Is a custodian of the judicial
conduct. कुछ भी बोलते हैं. No, anything which comes to my कुछ भी. No thinking.
कुछ भी बोलते हैं.
कुछ भी. मैं कह रहा हूँ कुछ भी बोलते हैं आप कोर्ट के जुडिशियल कॉन्डक्ट पर सवाल उठा रहे हैं प्रोग्राम पर कुछ भी.
Much more. It's much more dangerous than
can I clarify?
No. Okay. Rahmani, I want to tell you.
If you allow the worships of the other faith, then it becomes much more dangerous.
No, Mr. Rahmani, you are not understanding anything. Okay, Vishnu is responding to you. Vishnu is responding to you. I'll come. Okay, now Rahmani, जो भी बोला आपने, Vishnu is responding to you.
Arnab, my point is this, that there is a provision under CPC Order 39 Rule 1. What does Order 39 Rule 1 say? That if, sir, just a minute.
Why did you challenge this act in the court?
Arnab, the point is this, that Order 39 Rule 1 says what? That if there is a likelihood of damage to a suit property, immediate interim ex-party orders can be passed by the court. Now, Mr. Rahmani wants to say that when I found a shivling instead of going and protecting
He was not
my
a
Shivlingam,
he was not a party
I should
with-
go.
he was
I
not
should
even a
inform,
party in that
and
case.
I should
The
I should
person who
wait
has
for the
applied
Muslims to gather
before the
there
court,
and
he was
damage
not
the
even a
Supra
party. And the court
So
did
the
not bother
point
to
is this,
listen to
Arnab,
the other.
You have to.
powers under
No,
all
I want to tell you. Okay, Vishnu, now I'm coming in, please,
party.
because it's getting noisy. 1 minute, just a question here is. See, Mr. Rahman, you will be quiet now when I say something, and then GVL can come in, Ehtesham can come in. See, when you use words like judicial, what did you say? Judicial conduct, judicial. Just be careful about your words, because as far as I am aware, the Supreme Court is
I'm
fully
very careful.
aware.
I
Allow
said
me.
The judicial system itself is the custodian of the judicial conduct.
ये क्या क्लास 5-6 की civics
What wrong
सिखा रहे हैं
I
मुझे
said?
प्रोग्राम पर आप? Listen to me. I am saying the Supreme Court is fully aware
आपको तो
of
सीखनी
the
पड़ेगी
order
ना।
of the lower court,
आप भक्त हो जाएंगे तो
and
आपको
it has
सीखनी पड़ेगी
refused
5 and 6
to
की भी।
stay. Mr. Rahmani, you know, you get personal, I'll get so personal, you will not be able to respond. I am very purely legal, and I am arguing in an intelligent way. If you lack the intelligence, you see, I have worked hard in my life and got myself a fine education. So I talk like an educated man. If you want to not talk like an educated man, that is your choice, but people will notice it. My argument here is, and let Ehtesham argue or even disagree if required. Ehtesham, as far as I am aware, the Supreme Court is aware of the order of the lower court and has refused to stay the survey or the hearing. And this is a fact. Am I right or wrong?
Court has not decided whether it's a normal fountain or a shivling. And one most important thing which I would like to say, that we must discard the ideology of Owaisi and Modi if we want our nation to flourish. And these kinds of narratives which BJP and RSS is trying to set up are unconstitutional, illegal, and without any basis. I am not disputing the authority of Honorable Supreme Court of India. What I'm trying to say, that these kinds of narratives are just being set to hide the main core issues of our country which we are facing. Lakhs of people are suffering because of flood in Assam. But my learned colleague Vishnu Shankar Jain chose not to file a petition on the suffering of Assami peoples because of flood. He chooses the path of RSS ideology and ideology of Modi government to divide us on
talk
communal
about
lines.
Gyanvapi, or does your guest coordinator tell him to talk about petrol and diesel? If he has to talk about petrol and diesel, I'll reply to him in some other debate. But the point is that if he has a right for development, I also have a right to spiritual development.
But
Article 21
Bluetooth, that's why you're not listening properly.
Right to
Or you're too full of WhatsApp
intellectual development. And the point is this, just a minute, Ehtesham Hashi.
I just feel that
You want to say that if there is a temple, I do not have the right to fight for my temple in the courts of this country. What kind of dominance is this?
I think what is wrong
You
is,
have a right to fight for your mosque. I also have a right to fight for my temple. You are saying that I should fight for petrol and diesel?
Please
What kind
admit
of rubbish
this
is
fact.
this?
Please admit this fact.
it's better to have a healthy debate than the cockfight.
Right to spiritual development.
We are true
Development
Indians.
does not
We
mean
don't
just
support
infrastructure.
I'd like to welcome Muhammad Asif Sohail and GVL Narasimha Rao, who haven't spoken at all on the debate.
Take it as a rubbish.
And now the larger point is this: is there an attempt to discredit the courts before the verdict? I think so, because there's a blatant attempt. Discredit the courts before big hearings. Put pressure, lower court, Supreme Court. Of course, the pressure won't play, but is there an attempt to do that? The AMPLB alludes to the videography survey as a desecration of the masjid. So the AMPLB is trying to say that the courts have desecrated the masjid. GVL, you see, the moot point, which is my hashtag today's quote above all, is the kind of language being used and the kind of pressure tactics being used before important court hearings. We must talk about that.
Arnab, I haven't interjected when others spoke. I expect the same courtesy from others. I think, look at the irony. The place of salvation for every Hindu and place of liberation for every Hindu, Kasi. Today we are discussing about how to liberate the great Shivling that was found in the Wazi Khana. And why will people like Owaisi or any other Muslim Paksh, why will they accept? They have encroached, they have destroyed, not they, I mean Aurangzebs of the world. They have destroyed. This was barbarity at its worst. And today, the Muslim community wants to stand on the side of Aurangzeb. You have no respect for the sensitivity of crores of Hindus in this country. And what Kashi holds, it holds so dear to us. It's so holy to us. Every Hindu who has any faith wants to go and die in Kashi. I think you have no respect for their sentiments at all. We want to go through a court of law even for something that was so unjust. But even that you want to deny to us? You won't even let the process of law to happen through the courts of law? You will question the court? You will question Parliament? Did you accept Citizenship Amendment Act which was passed by both houses of Parliament? Did you accept Yaqub Memon hanging by the Supreme Court? Did OIC not say no to it? I think it's you, whether it was Babur or Aurangzeb, they insulted, they heaped insult, humiliation on crores of Hindus in this country, and you want only perpetuation of that to gain to score a political point? Have some sense. I want all the Muslims of the world, please look at this, what it means to Hindus of this country, Hindus of the world. There is nothing that is comparable to Baba Vishwanath or Kashi. I think if you have any sense, if you have any respect, if you have any sensibilities, I think you should gradually, you should say, okay, this was a historical wrong, we are not going to lay a claim on it. Gyanvapi has been constructed after destroying a temple. It doesn't require any court to establish it.
Good speech.
You just need to go there for 5 minutes. I want Taslim to go with me. You will establish it. Honestly, it doesn't require a court of inquiry.
Oh, I want to come with you.
Any sensible human being who goes there can
I want
establish
to come with
this.
you. That's
So
what
please.
I'm asking Arnab to allow me to
I will arrange for your visit. I will arrange for your visit.
How many points of
Any Hindu will show you.
need in the country?
It's an insult that has been heaped hundreds of years ago,
have quoted
and you want to
50,000
simply...
mosques as your point of salvation. Is that
No, I'm saying Kashi, there is nothing comparable to there is nothing comparable to Varanasi, Taslim Rahmani. What is Makkah Madina to you?
No, my question is, I'd like Asif Sohail to come into the debate. I'd like Asif Sohail to come into the debate, and I just want to tell you, I'm not even getting into the survey, the videos which have come out. Though I will ask today, with GVL continuing to be on the left, please. I will ask, how many videos can one bury? You look at the undated video where the camera pans to the Nandi, which is situated, I can show it on the screen, on one side behind a makeshift grill gate. And as the person turns around and walks towards the Gyanvapi well, you can see that the well where the shivling was discovered is in the straight line from the Nandi. The shivling-like structure is not visible because it was being used as the Wazukhana. Question is, you can try to block the survey, but how much truth can you bury? And why should the truth be buried, Mr. Sohail?
Yeah, Arnab, I'm not surprised with the Nagpur University history. Let's not go on that. I will talk on the fact. देखिए, जो order वो था गैर संवैधानिक था, ठीक है? The total order of the lower court is unconstitutional. So that is no point. और दूसरी चीज जो कोर्ट का सर्वे किया गया है, उसको कोर्ट कमिश्नर ऑफ सर्वेयर को क्यों निकाला गया? तो उनके सर्वे रिपोर्ट और उनकी वीडियोग्राफी पे why are we debating? The already court has removed the advocate commissioner. That's what. See, when we are talking about the special 1991 Act, in that clearly says, the Supreme Court should take suo motu court against the petitioner as well as the person who has at that. See, let me finish.
No, please tell me. Do you? No.
देखिए, आप मेरी बात तो खत्म करने दीजिए.
Will you say on the program we are supporting
सर, थोड़ा सा पानी पीजिए. क्यों इतना गुस्सा हो रहे हैं आप? ठीक है, सबर रखिए आप. सबर रखिए। देखिए
सवाल पूछ रहा हूं, आप पार्लियामेंट
जो एडवोकेट कमिश्नर को
ऑल द गेस्ट
सीएए अच्छा कानून है,
मैं दूंगा ना, ठीक है। यू आर नॉट अर्नब गोस्वामी टू क्वेश्चन मी, लेट मी रिप्लाई टू फर्स्ट, ठीक है। देखिए जो कमिश्नर को कोर्ट ने रिमूव किया, उनकी रिपोर्ट या वीडियोग्राफी पे क्या हम बिलीव कर सकते हैं? सुनिए आप। दूसरी चीज, एक क्लियरली जो है सो इसके अंदर बाबरी मस्जिद के वर्डिक्ट में पारा 80 में क्लियरली बता दिया गया है कि इसको कोई इलेक्टेड को देखिए, इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट ये एक्ट को चेक नहीं कर सकती। देखिए 4 साल से पानी का फव्वारा आज एक शिवलिंग होता है, ठीक है। आई स्ट्रांगली कंडेम जो मेम्स जो बनाए जा रहे हैं, ये बहुत गलत है, किसी के मजहब के ऊपर मजाक नहीं, बट ये वजह क्या है? इट्स ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ द स्टूपिडिटी ऑफ द पिटिशनर।
I think it's really unfortunate, but I need to tell you, Mrs. Sohail, let's talk logically. Please.
Hundreds of temple have been demolished in the Kashi corridor. Arnab, let me एक चीज आखिरी बताना। कई मंदिरों को तोड़ा गया काशी कॉरिडोर में, ये मस्जिद को क्यों नहीं लिया? बट प्राइम मिनिस्टर को क्लियरली पता था कि ये
nobody is talking about destroying a mosque. Nobody is talking about destroying a mosque. Who's talking?
Not as sacred as the Makkah.
No one.
Arnab, last 30 सेकेंड। अर्नब, लिसन टू मी। ये मुल्क ना भगवत गीता पे, ना कुरान पे, ना बाइबल पे, ये मुल्क संविधान पे चलता है और ये संविधान को मानना पड़ेगा। नरेंद्र मोदी कोई बड़े नहीं है संविधान से, जज कोई बड़ा नहीं है संविधान से। संविधान में 1991 में जब बता दिया गया है, सुनिए आप, देखिए।
No, I ask you. No, the question being, one minute. First of all, I'll tell you, you are quoting the law selectively. I wish to give an example of this, please. I want to bring in Raghav and Ehtisham on the debate. I ask you a question. Yes, what were you saying, Gaurav? Yeah, Gaurav saying something. Yeah, what are you saying, Gaurav?
3 साल की जेल बता रहा है।
मैं इतना कहना चाहूंगा। मैं मिस्टर सोहेल चुप हो जाइए, प्लीज बी क्वाइट नाउ। मिस्टर सोहेल, आई जस्ट वांट टू आस्क यू वन क्वेश्चन। आपको हिंदी में समझा देता हूँ, अंग्रेजी में अगर मुश्किल आ रही होगी। आपका औरंगजेब से क्या संबंध है?
आपको बात करना है, तभी से बात करें।
नहीं, आई एम डिक्टेटिंग यू। आई डोंट नीड योर परमिशन। मिस्टर, कोई ब्लू कोट पैंट पहनने से कोई समझदार नहीं हो जाता। आप जस्ट आस्किंग हो, औरंगजेब से तुम्हारा क्या संबंध है? औरंगजेब से तुम्हारा क्या संबंध है? औरंगजेब से तुम्हारा क्या संबंध है?
फखर है रहमतुल्लाह।
मामा लगते थे, पिताजी लगते थे, मासा जी लगते थे, मामा क्या लगते थे आपके? तुम्हारा उस देखिए, who was औरंगजेब?
मुझे
the invader of India, who killed the Hindus, who killed the Indians, who killed the Bharatiya?
उन्होंने गांधी जी को तो नहीं मारा, आपके जो बाप दादा।
Okay, now. I ask you, Ehtisham, I ask you tonight. My next question is to Ehtisham and Raghav. Ehtisham.
Yes.
Do you just simply give me a yes or no reply? Do you accept?
No, I can't. If you pose
do you accept the CAA?
Give my explanation.
Do you accept the CAA?
Do you
accept the CAA?
No.
But that has been passed following the due process of law.
Yeah, but it's still pending adjudication before Honorable Supreme Court of India.
No, but it has been passed. It has been passed. So my question therefore is, one minute, Raghav, let me complete the context of the question. The context of the question is this. The context is this. One minute. Ehtisham, the context is this. 1 minute. Ehtisham, the context is this. The context is this. You and Owaisi say that you don't accept the CA which has been passed following the due process of law, and then you quote wrongly and say the order of the lower court violates the 1991 law, which means you quote the law selectively.
Is there a stay?
Now, may I make my point? Arnab, you should read news from some good and reputable newspaper. I filed a case before Honorable Supreme Court of India. Title is Hashmi versus Union of India. I have challenged the Citizenship Amendment Act before Honorable Supreme Court of India, and matter is pending adjudication. How can I say I admit it or deny it? My petition is already pending before Honorable Supreme Court of India.
Okay, so
talk like an uneducated illiterate. There is no stay. As long as there is no stay, a law that has been passed by the Indian Parliament, which has plenary powers, is valid. And if you're not accepting it, then it means you don't deserve to be a citizen of India. If you don't accept a law that has been validly passed by a parliament,
this nonsense fellow will decide that who is citizen of India or not. This nonsense idiot fellow will decide who is citizen of India or not. What kind of a citizen he is? He is trying to put his feet in the shoes of Honorable Supreme Court of India.
No, is there a stay?
And nonsense and idiot.
no, but you do not accept. But is this not? Has this not? Thank you. But has it not? I pray. I ask you here. I ask you here. Food for thought now. Food for thought. And I want to bring in Rashidi and GVL into the debate. You see, Rashidi, listen to me.
Muslim claim the Babri Masjid after 30 years?
I'll tell you something. You see, I'll tell you one thing. This has become a pattern. You will ask me what has become a pattern. This discrediting, attacking the courts every time a judgment does not go their way, observation does not go their way, it has become a pattern. The Supreme Court on Shaheen Bagh said that Shaheen Bagh, the lobby called the Supreme Court order to restrict protests at designated places after Shaheen Bagh as introducing dangerous constitutional ideas. The AIMPLB called the Ayodhya verdict shameful, oppressive. Then some people call the Karnataka High Court order on hijab a blow to human rights. The Tukre gang called the Supreme Court's Afzal Guru Qatil. They said the Supreme Court is the Qatil of Afzal Guru. Owaisi discredited Yaqub Mamun's execution. Says Memon was punished for his religion. So I am saying on a regular serialized basis, this abuse of the courts has to stop. You think this will go on unimpeded for the longest time and we won't ask questions? You want anarchy in this country. When the court order doesn't go your way, you will instigate people. For how long? For how long?
First of all, I would
Which of my examples was wrong?
Your query about the CA law. As a citizen can agree or disagree with the law that has been made by the parliament. But if a law comes into existence, the courts cannot deny that law. The Places of Worship Act 1991 is into existence by the parliament. The civil court cannot deny it, cannot violate it. The Supreme Court upheld that law in the Babri verdict. The civil court is denying that too. Now coming to your
I don't think so. Please don't.
We are trying to do the same thing that BJP did in the Sabrimala case. The Supreme Court ruled. The Supreme Court gave a verdict. The Supreme Court gave a verdict in the Sabrimala case. The BJP openly violated it. The late Arun Jaitley gave a very, very controversial statement against the ruling of the Supreme Court. And if you want, I can quote that statement. But I don't want to quote that statement on air because it was very much in the violation of the Supreme Court.
Arnab,
BJP clearly abused the Supreme Court ruling in the Sabrimala case, but you won't discuss that. You won't call it against the court ruling because that doesn't suit the propaganda.
I'm sorry. Nobody said that the court's ruling will not apply. There's a whole difference. Between disagreeing and instigating, there is a whole difference, please. There's a disagreement. You can disagree, but you cannot instigate.
Sensibility. I just have a question.
You're instigating.
I just have one question.
My point is you're instigating. Before a court hearing, you're instigating.
I have one question. We are not instigating.
You are.
The media trial
you
is
are.
instigating. The media trial is impacting and influencing the decision of the court.
For God's sake, the court cannot be influenced by anyone.
That is being carried on
Leave
by
alone the media,
channel.
please.
And Mr.
Ridiculous.
Jibel, I have a question for Mr. Jibel. He was talking about respect. He was talking about mutual harmony. He was talking about sensibility.
Arnab, the Muslim side knows. Arnab, all those who are arguing against the courts today, they know they have a very weak case. They know this barbarity is so stark. They know this barbarity is so stark that courts cannot miss it. They know it's a losing case. They know it's the barbarity is so obvious. The evidence is the evidence is so strong. The Muslim Paksh knows they will lose this case, and therefore they want to.
Well, whatever. Let's not try and preempt what the courts will say. But what I will say is that for a Congress leader, top Congress leader, to start saying the Gyanvapi issue is a tamasha, Hindu sentiments a tamasha, religious beliefs a tamasha, a legal process a tamasha. Ladies and gentlemen, on the other side, why should anyone make a comment like that? In a few minutes.
Pursue Amity University online bachelor's and master's